Okay, so I'm going to give you instructions on how to do part B of your Kepler's Law Lab. So there's a document here. You're going to click to download it, and it should open up as a PDF. So I've got my PDF here. We want to go to Tools, and we want to open under Comments. And that allows us to have these things to mark with. So I'm going to use this drawing tool here, and on here you can type in the answers to the pre-lab questions. I'm going to move on to the procedures. You need to do the pre-lab questions first. You should be able to get that from your notes or your e-book. So we're going to label the sun at the center of our graph as 0 AUs, and AU is an astronomical unit, as in our notes. It says each concentric circle moving outward will be 0.05 AUs. So we want to figure out what the outer circle is going to be and put that here. So I'm going to pull down to get to my graph. So here's my graph, and I see these concentric circles are what they're talking about going outward. This is the center here. It said to label that concentric circle as the sun. So it says label the sun at the center, and that's our 0 AUs. And then we're going to go out 0.05 AUs till we find out what the last outer ring is. So if I go over here, I'm going to mark this here, and that is going to represent my sun. So I'm going to do a text, and I'm going to type SUN, and there's the sun. Okay. So I'm going to go back, and I'm going to use text to do this. If this first one is 0.05, then this one here should be 0.10. Okay, so then the next, that would be 0.15. So this one here would be 0.20. This next one would be 0.25. This one would be 0.30. This would be 0.35. So this one would be 0.40. And this outer ring out here would be 0.50. Okay. So we want to do that on both the left and right, and going vertical along our vertical axis here. So we're it's skipping one and writing the value, skipping one, writing the value, typing the value, and so forth. So if I skip one, this over here is my 0.10. Skipping one, this would be my 0.20. Skipping one, I'd have 0.30. Skipping one, this would be 0.40. And skipping one, this outer one is 0.50. Okay, so I'm going to turn around and do the same thing going vertically. So skipping one, I'm going to go to here, and this is going to be 0.10. Skipping one, this one is going to be 0.20. Skipping one, I'm going to have 0.30. Skipping one, I'm going to go to here and get 0.40. And skipping one, this outer ring is 0.50. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing going down the bottom. So it's easy to find our values. Skipping one, I'm going to have 0.10. Skipping one, 0.20. Skipping one, 0.30. skipping one 0.40, and skipping one 0.50. Okay, so I know I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to fill in this as 0.50 AUs. Okay, it says we're going to plot the data that's provided using the appropriate concentric circle for the radius vector in AUs. So if you notice, this column here is in AUs. Those are the values that we're plotting on those concentric circles. And this is the longitude in degrees. Those are the lines radiating outward in our longitude in degrees. So we're going to have 16 points that we're going to plot, and we're supposed to connect them with a smooth curve. That just means you don't want a straight line going from one to the other. You want it kind of curving. So we're going to start plotting this at 0.319 and 114 degrees. So I'm going to go over here, and I want to find 114 degrees, so that's going to be over here, halfway between these. I'm going to switch over to my pencil and do this. So halfway between 110 and 120 is 115. So 114 is a little bit above that, towards the 110 side. So I want that, and the value for that point is at, I just forgot, is 114 degrees with 0.319. So 0.3 is here. This is 0.35. So halfway between would be 0.325. So we're going to go just a little bit closer and put our mark on our paper there. Okay, so you can either try to do this with the pencil, or you can try to go to a shape and be able to put in the shape there. So if I just try off to the side how to make the shape, then I can do that, and there would be a circle like that. So you could do that instead of this point, but then you're going to want to connect them with the pencil thing. So if I do that little circle, oops, no, that didn't work. I got to go back and click on my circle. So I'm going to hold it right here and kind of drag a little circle right there. Okay, so there's that circle. And then the next one is 0.347 and 147 degrees. So 147 would be halfway between 140 and 150, would be 145, so a little bit closer to the 150. And we want to go down till we get to 0.347. So this is 0.3, this is 0.5, so 0.347 would be somewhere right around here. So we're going to draw our little circle. Oops, I didn't click on the circle again. So draw a little circle there like that. And then we want to switch to the pen and try to make a curve that's going to go from here around to here as best you can. Okay, so now we're going to choose our circle and do our next one. Our next one says 0.381 and 175. So 175 would be halfway between 170 and 180. And I'm going to go to 0.381. So if this is 0.35 and this is 0.4, and this other point represented 0.347, I know I've got to go out a little bit, or 0.381, I got to go out a little bit further for 0.381. So here is my point. Okay, again, I'm going to switch to my pencil, and I'm going to draw that going across like this. Okay, so it didn't quite match up, but it's okay. It's harder to do this with the online tool than it is to do it on paper. So if you can print this, it's easier to print it out and draw it on there. Okay, so once you're done, you should, after plotting all your points, it should end up, and like I said, it's easier to do it on paper. It should end up looking something like this. Okay.